invite you to rise. You bow your heads, please. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who made the sea and the many waters. From the second day of creation, Lord, you separated the waters of the deep from the waters above. On the second day of your Holy Week, you cleared your Father's house of the muck and corruption that floods the world. And you sent your right-hand man to do your work. Bless the work of our hands. Fix our eyes on that which is above, that death may pass over our homes, and that we may be led by you through the waters below, to serve and obey you, who is risen above. May our houses be clean and full of prayer. As the banks of the Salt River pull back, Lord, from the city of Shepherdsville, you have gathered many hands to clean and restore life here. May this work be pleasing in your sight as we give you the glory. Fill your churches with people who cry out for deliverance from slavery to sin, death, and the power of the evil foe. Guide our mayor, Jose, and our city council, that they may walk in your way and serve this community and people with humility and holiness. Bless our work and our decisions tonight. Bring harmony to reign, that we would live God-pleasing lives. Give guidance and strength to our law enforcement, that we may have a secure community. Make alert and swift our first responders and all who serve in fire and safety and rescue and help. Cleanse us from the scourge of addictions. Inspire our pastors and our educators and our students. Safeguard our defenders and warfighters. Give integrity to your public servants. Give wisdom to your people. Give your Holy Spirit that we may follow you. For you, Lord Jesus, are worthy of all glory and honor and dominion, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Thomas, as always. Thank you so much. All right, we'll start our meeting at 6:02. Miss
Okay.
Brenda?
Faith?
Here.
Bonnie?
Here.
Brad?
Here.
Jennifer?
Here.
Rob?
Here.
And Mike?
Here. All right, thank you, council. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from March 24th.
I'll
Motion.
make a motion.
Yep.
I'll
Look
second.
at that. Well, we got
Okay,
Rob
In
and then
sync.
Faith.
You want first or second?
But we did Rob and Faith, didn't we?
Okay, Rob
In sync.
first.
Yeah, and then Faith.
Second.
Jennifer was just rushing to get in there.
Jennifer?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Yes, no?
Oh, I said second.
No,
They
no.
both did it at the same.
Oh, okay, okay.
She just
Y'all
said-
got, they got it.
Yes.
So now I just
They're
need
the
yes or
winners.
no for approval.
Oh, oh. Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Faith?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
All right, thank you, guys. Before we start presentations here real quick, I just want to make sure that everybody knows I am very proud of the relationship we have with the county. And I got to tell you, if you don't know already, Justin Warren from EMA and our beloved fire chief here did an outstanding job last week with everything going on. We had great teams everywhere. Chief, appreciate what your team did, not only here in Shepherds, but what you did in LJ. A lot of that, and obviously, Chief Steve, appreciate you guys having people everywhere. A lot of cooperation in the county, in the city. Could have been worse. I mean, there's a lot of, but you know, if you're one of the people that have flooding in your area, it was a challenge. But I think everybody did a really good job. We're really excited to have Buckman open back up as we did on Thursday. But I just want to make sure people realize what this community did at a time when the bad weather. Did a great job. And like I said, I just want to make sure you all know that we appreciate that. I know Courtney, Anita, EJ, my wife, and everybody just working hard on things. I wasn't going to forget her this time. But I want to make sure that everybody knows that we had a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff, making sure that we get back on our feet. And I think in another week or two, there's going to be some normalcy for all of us to get back. We're going to get the park back open so people can get out there. We're in that weather. But I just want to tell you, I'm very proud of Shepherdsville, and I'm proud of Bullock County. I think we did a good job working together, and I'm very proud of everybody came together to help those in need. So thank you all very, very much. With that said, our first presentation, EJ, we're going to have you start up. Come on up here for a minute. We're going to let you do your presentation, but also on this presentation, it has Luann on there. So we called Luann. So EJ, when you get through with your presentation, I had Catherine, just take some notes down, some things that are very vital, kind of goes into what you were talking about with this property. But I will let you get started. I think everybody knows you, but if you introduce yourself and.
All right. I'm E.J. Lanham, the pastor of Field of Grace, and so thankful to be here tonight. I do want to say for the last 10 years, as a pastor and as a father and as a husband, we've been in Bullitt County, in Shepherdsville, investing. We are here for the long haul. We are invested. Our heart is here. We're raising up future generations. At Field of Grace, we say we think three. We think the children's children's children. I got a 5-year-old, turned 6 in next week. And my desire is he'll raise his family up right here as well. And so just trying to lay that groundwork to say that we are desiring to annex our property. We've got 27 acres. As a church, we purchased it with the hopes of doing some ministry work there, which was shut down. And so now we're going to try to do what we see as a great need within our county, with our city, is housing. And so we have a developer we're working with. He's within our church as well. To provide these houses. You will see here on the back paper the proposed layout of what this would look like. There's up to 85 homes that can end up being there. There's 67 shown on this plat map. So 67 to 85 depending on how we structure it. I did provide a lot of research just throughout the last few days, calling individuals. There's only 258 listings for single-family housing in the entirety of Bullitt County right now. There's anywhere ranging from 25 to 40 in the city limits of Shepherdsville. Those only last around 20 to 45 days. Most are purchased sight unseen. I know as a pastor, I'm losing families left and right. We're growing quickly, but I'm also losing families as they're moving to Bardstown, they're moving to Mount Washington, they're moving out of Shepherdsville to other cities, they're moving into E-Town because the housing they desire, they cannot find here. I know there was at one point maybe a issue around the pricing of the housing market, and I just did just analysis the other day, called and did the MLS searches. The average median price within Shepherdsville city limits is $285,000. Within Bullitt County, it's $345,000. We're looking at making the pricing within this subdivision, starting at $285,000, going upwards in the $450,000. So it's a great spectrum for all families. It's affordable. Now, I get it. Maybe it doesn't sound affordable anymore if you've lived in your house for 10, 15 years, but that is the market. We just purchased a house 2 years ago, and that's what you buy if you want a single-family house with more than just one bedroom in it. And so I'm here today just to kind of talk about and talk through that. Of course, with us being where we're at, it is a Shepherdsville address, but it's located within the county. Our desire is to be within the city. We work here. We desire to serve here and to help here. We were down there in the trenches this week. Our church showed up with 30, 40 volunteers. We're looking at purchasing a property. We've already purchased a property within city limits. So we're here. We're not someone that's coming and going. We're digging roots within this city, and we want to make sure we're investing. And this is, whether you feel it or not, this is a need that's definitely taking place as a pastor with families coming to me every day. Help me. I talked to an individual today. He works. His name is Damien. He works at Enterprise. He's a father of 3. He lives right now in downtown Louisville. He goes to a church in Frankfort. He's looking for a church here. But he works in Shepherdsville but cannot find a house that's suitable for him, his wife, and his 3 children. And so he was talking to me today about, can you help me find that house? So that's kind of my plea today. I would love to take any questions that you may have. I provided tons of information within this report that you can look over. But we just desire this help today.
Any questions? They may have one. Just hang for those minutes. What I want to do is also, Luann was part of this. She's a real estate agent that's actually working with the Helen Heights. And so, Catherine, if you will, we just took some notes, some things we were trying, because she was going to present this today, but she took a fall today.
Yeah.
And broke her wrist. Yeah. So she's actually at home, and she doesn't want to take any kind of a pain medicine, so she's kind of toughing it out. So if you can think about Luann, make sure you.
And just geographically, for your own, it's 27 acres. It is only 800 yards, a little less than 800 yards, just there south of the Helen Heights. So there's 3 driveways between us and Helen Heights. We are the 3rd driveway. It's just under 6 miles from Station 2. I believe Chief drove that several times as well to verify it. We were in discussions with Chief, Jody and Eric, and we've got it covered. There's 2 fire hydrants very close to this area, so there's adequate coverage for any kind of worries about that as well.
So we just want to add to what you've presented already, EJ. You want to discuss that discussion?
Sure. So when we talked to Luann just a little while ago, and I'm sure all of you all at least know who she is if you don't know her. And I forgot to ask her how long she's been in real estate here, but I think it's 25 plus years. It's a long time. So she's very, and she's lived here for a very long time. So she definitely knows the community and the market, and she is the one that's handling the Helen Heights cases. So Helen Heights is projected to, once they've completed, have about 90 homes. They've already sold 30 of those homes. And according to her, based on what you kind of parlaying off of what you were talking about, Luann said that the location has helped. They've got 2 families that they're soldiers in Fort Knox. They moved in, and there's several other families that either work in Bardstown, E-Town, and even Frankfort. But because of the location, it's very central, and they like it. There is definitely, I guess, a demand. Now, she said that in Shepherdsville, currently available for sale houses, there's only 30 in the city limits. And of course, I don't know when you got this. All fluctuates.
In mine range from 20 to 45
Yeah.
because it changes every day. It's changing.
And obviously, that ranges from from as low as 50,000 all the way up to 600,000. That's the range of these homes in Shepherdsville. When she looked at it this evening, in all of 40165 area code, it was 76 houses for sale.
76.
I did not
this
ask.
was 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, I did not ask for the average of those, but the average sale price in Bullitt County when they're closing is $274,000. I didn't ask her to break that down anymore, but that kind of gives us a rough idea. Helen Heights also, they just raised their prices by 1% due to the increase in cost, and apparently it's not slowing down. They've got 5 custom homes going now that are in contract, 4 spec homes that are being built. 1 will be contracted, I think she said, this evening, so then there will only be 3 spec homes left. Their price point ranges from $245,000 the lowest to $360,000 the highest. So their range is usually between $275,000 and $310,000 when it closes. That's the median. The square footage of these homes, trying to give you as much information as possible on what these homes are, was between 1,200 and 750 square feet. She also pointed out that Bullitt County in that area is eligible for what they call USDA or rural housing loan. And so what that means is that, and I do believe it's for first-time home buyers, but what that means is 100% of the house can be financed. They don't have to have money for a down payment. And she said, a lot of the young people that she's working with, they have the credit, they have the ability to pay for it, they just don't have the money for the down payment, and so this helps them. From a realtor's perspective, the price point that I think that they had given between what did you just say now, 285 all the way up to 4.
And these are preliminary numbers
Yes.
as well. So
And I think that falls in line. The higher end might be a little higher, but I mean, listen.
they're larger homes too.
Yes,
These
they're
are
going to be
houses.
larger, and I mean, Heritage Hill homes are 500,000+, and when they go on the market, they usually do sell within 2 to 3 months. So there is a demand for that price point as well. So let's see, what else did she say? She said the drainage out there is good. Their engineer did a ton of work. It's good. They didn't have any issues during this flood. Their property didn't have any issues. The property that they're wanting to annex did not have any issues.
The biggest thing is they talk location, because you're
Yes.
5 minutes from getting on 112. 5 minutes
Yeah.
to go north or south.
You're 0.34 miles from the exit.
Yeah.
Because the church is 1 mile exactly, and it's about a quarter mile up. So you're
Which is why that's attractive, because you go to
Yeah,
E-Town, you
you're
go
right off.
into Louisville if you live in that area. And again, we're looking at that area as kind of being a residential area.
And with the traffic flow with the new exit, you can take any of those exits. You can get off at LJ and come down 61. You can even get off at Joe Prather, take 434 and come down. So there's so many different traffic routes to get in, which is nice for the church as well, because you can get there when things begin to shut down.
Yeah, and they really see a need. I mean, the builder that she's working with, you know, obviously is not this same builder. And so, but he's just like the more the merrier, because there's definitely, obviously, this demand. And so, I don't think there's that issue. But we did ask specifically, Bonnie, they've not had any problems getting insurance out there. So I wanted to kind of make sure, because I know you had raised that concern. So I just asked, hey, you know, has this been an issue? Has it been higher? She said there's been no problems. So just from her perspective as a real estate agent, my impression was that, you know, this housing is needed and would be very good for the city of Shepherdsville, because people are wanting, not just within our community to move, but people from other areas are wanting to move in because they either work here or they work in E-Town.
Just for reference, our church started 10 years with 7 people, and we'll have 1,000 people on a weekend. I mean, the church, and that's, sure, the church is great. I love the church, but the area has blown up, and there's an influx of people. And our median age within the church is 35 years old. So these are young families. We'll have 100 kids. So they've all, I mean, I've got 4 myself. That's the average in our church. There's a bunch of kids, lots of families. They're young, and they're looking for homes. They're looking, you know, they're getting to that stage where they're ready to buy. I bought at 19 years old. I joined the military, bought my first house, but most people aren't buying a home now until 32, 33 years old, which is strange for me as well. But I'm watching, and then they don't know where to go and how, you know, where to turn to.
So that's the information that I got from Luann, and I'm sure if you had any other questions for
Yeah,
her, you
most
could.
of you guys probably have her number. If you don't have, go to Kroger.
Yeah, it's on the
It's on the cards. It's on every card. But anyway, listen, EJ, thank you so much for making your presentation.
Any questions?
You guys have any questions about it?
Do they have, I assume they have Louisville Water, natural gas service at the street?
It's all through there, yep.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, EJ.
Thank you.
And thank you, Catherine. All right, Mr. Jody Craig. I do want to say it was awesome watching that truck just put that 10,000 gallons of water out every minute.
It's pretty cool.
As we were trying to clean up Buckman. It was pretty wild. So,
Council, how you doing? Good.
good. Doing good, man.
Everybody got a copy of my presentation. If anybody has questions for me, you know, the mileage is the mileage. If you understand, you know, I drove it today, Southeast Bullets, 2.2 miles exactly, and then you turn around and it's 5.4, 5.5 to Station 2, just depending on how you go. That's the mileage. And if you understand how we're dispatched as a crow's fly, all right? We're not, Bullitt County Dispatch has not got to the point of, GPS on mileage, okay? They don't use this mileage to dispatch us. They dispatch the closest per crow fly. These are the closest firehouses anyway. There's not any in between it. And every single structure fire that we have, it's 5 companies, all right? 5 units that respond to that. All staffed, fully staffed, 24 hours a day. And then I also explained to you the water supply is good out there. Obviously, with a new neighborhood, our fire marshal would add hydrants to the neighborhoods and as needed per whatever the code says that they would go through. Training with the other fire departments, we train monthly. We train all through different strategies and tactics effective with residential structure fires. We also do commercial fires together. Just up the street, of course, is McCusson and UPS. UPS Healthcare has 400 employees and McCusson has 200. That's a half mile away that are staffed. I know they have people in there 24 hours a day. UPS has a first and a second shift, and so does McCusson. So, you know, we also are able to handle commercial and also residential on the structure fires, if that would be needed. Again, the joint training that we do with each other throughout the county, it paid off this weekend. You all read my report. Hopefully, if you didn't, if you have time, you can look at that just on how ongoing training together it works. Okay, you know, I always say to my folks, people don't read the patch on the side of the truck when they call 911. Right? They want help. either if it's a police emergency or a fire emergency. So our closest unit, you see is Southeast. They're the closest, and then our companies are right behind it. Questions for me?
Chief? So are you all dispatched on an AVL system?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if a Southeast Bullet engine is sitting at 44 and 61, you gotta run to the courthouse, it's gonna pull that engine?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep. Same way with Zoneton sitting at Walmart, like it happens, or Nichols is coming in town to eat.
right,
It's
but
cracking.
it doesn't dispatch by the actual route, it just pulls it in a radius and
Yes,
it
sir.
dispatches,
Yep.
which for us is probably not that big of a deal right now, because we're not as congested as a big city, but that's the way. So what's their timeline on getting to an actual route?
We have asked the county to help us out with that without, it's a cost and an upgrade to the system. Chief Moten, who's our president, he has asked the county and the dispatch to look at that. Judge Summers is looking at it. I know we're just ongoing meetings, how we can upgrade our CAD system to make that work. We're hoping within 6 months to a year, honestly, Brad. It's just all about inputting that information and making it mile by mile. Jefferson County started with the same system as a crow's fly when we implemented it. And it took 6 months to a year for us to go to that GPS. And AVL also, it takes into account traffic, it takes into account roadways and
Right.
all the other stuff.
Right, it should take in, road closures and.
Yes, sir.
And detours and things of that nature, right? So, I think I speak for everybody, it's not a question of, do we think you're capable, do we think they're capable? This is all a question of, like, where are our facilities, where are our resources coming from? Because if it's gonna be annexed into the city, it needs to be our resources, or at least we need to
Right.
to have our resources.
And my goal, my
Pre-positioned.
3 to 5 year plan is a firehouse, right? It's my 3 to 5 year as a firehouse. It's 4 years to get a fire truck.
Right.
If I call today and says, hey, come try to build this fire truck for me, it's anywhere from 3 to 4 years depending on what you want. So we can't flop one, just
Right,
to
and
give
in
you.
conversations I've had with the mayor is, we can't wait 5 years down the road for this area to proliferate and then decide we need to put a fire station there, because then everything's gonna be built up, and so we probably need to start looking at that now and start looking at more of a 2 to 3 year timeline than a 5 year timeline.
Yes.
Would you not agree?
The mayor said,
We
we're
said 3 to
constantly,
5.
we're constantly up doing it. And that's me. I literally, we're constantly evaluating that, and that's, I would evaluate anything the council, the mayor's with, I would
I
love
mean, if
to.
I was sitting in your shoes, I would
100%.
welcome a shorter timeline.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
It's with the, again, I just wrote my 3 to 5 year plan and firehouse is in it.
Right, okay.
Within 6 months, so.
Yeah, so I want to add something to it. I know there's been a little, just the numbers on it. You said 5.4 on one of them. Was that going down Cedar Grove to South Preston and 5.6 on the other one? I think
Yes,
it's-
sir. I went all different routes today. I went from Station 2, 480 to Preston up, and then, or south, excuse me, and then I went Omega to, Alpha to Omega across that way to Preston.
So we're averaging
That's
about a half.
It's 0.2 more.
About a half a mile.
Yes, sir.
In difference of the radius. So the other thing I want to add to it, just something, Sunday, we had our cleanup days, okay? Ray Page said that we had somebody have a seizure at the wastewater. 4 minutes. 4 minutes it got done. We had an EMT on the truck, started right. Ray said it was awesome to watch it, okay? So again, it goes back to the training piece, how we're equipped and how we're doing it. We have no desire to stretch ourselves any more than possible, but we think that over the next couple of years, this is something we feasibly can do. And I was talking to Brad about this. One of the things we can do is we can start looking for the piece of property. He had a couple of good ideas. We were talking about closer toward the Beech Grove area, because you got 1,400 homes back there. Maybe a better place to put it than going too far south. Maybe somewhere down the road it might be further south. But if we get something there, we can still make sure that those areas that are just south of 245, they'll be covered by the new station long term. But we're just making sure there's two things. This is not taken lightly. This is going to be reviewed as far as the service. But we can't ignore that we have housing issues. Okay, that's part of this. And this is, I think, the biggest part that I want to make sure that it's educated. I didn't get a chance to talk to Rob, but I talked to individually them. I just want to make sure you always look at where the growth is going to be in the city. It's going to be 61 south. In that area, just past the development there, 245. It's also going to be in 44 east. I've talked to the judge already. We talked a little bit about how we're going to expand to have housing if we're going to be this place to come. We've got a lot of information that's been given to us about why they want to move here, because they start to see the community being built. Well, we got to be prepared for that. You know, we can't be turning down housing in a sense of where does it take? It'll be 2 years before that gets done anyway. So we're only about a year before that station gets built, right? So that you can do some math and figure out how long it would be. There would be a time that we wouldn't have at that level of service, and we know we need it. But in this next year, presumably maybe even after the second year, we're going to be in a better position financially because we don't want to borrow. We'd like to pay straight up for it, right? And that's what we're going to try to save that money for that. I prefer not to get a loan for the station, but again, we're talking about 2-bay, Brad? Just the 2-bay, right? Just doing like a quarters in there, and an office in there.
Smaller substation.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so we can start doing all that. Again, that's the piece I want you all to know, that our commitment is there. We're not ignoring, it's a half a mile, we can argue that point, but we've got a chief here that managed 2 situations during the flood. I'm not worried about our situation, our fire station, and we do have good partnerships, but what we wanna do is at least take an opportunity, because we talked about, I think even one thing you didn't mention was, Luann mentioned that some of these incentives on this loan, right? She said that wasn't gonna continue for the loans for first time. So a lot of things are on time schedules that we think are important. And time schedules for us is having houses. We're really in a situation, a lot of our inventory, some of our older houses are not suitable for what we're looking to do. So we have to look at that. We have to look at every avenue we can. And we've got people that want to be part of our city. We want to make sure we send the right message. But I do think that having this information, EJ, you being here, Tom, that now I know that this council has all the information that they need to make a good, well-informed decision for the city, as well as the folks that are interested in coming to the city. So, thank you. And again, listen, great job. You won't even have to speak after that. You just let the chief come up in just a year. Right?
Chief Craig, I got a question because I did not get a copy of what you sent. So was the conclusion essentially, I'm not going to read it right now. Was the conclusion, I just want to know the conclusion. Was the conclusion that as current, with the current firehouses and your current staff, that you could handle that? Okay. Okay. I just didn't get that, so.
No, sorry about
Thank
that.
you.
That's the most important question. Can you do it? All right, thank you. Larry, do you?
I want to thank you and the crew for checking on me during the flood. The crew came and waited in knee-deep water to ring my doorbell, checking on me, and I want to thank you. And as another group has seen me, it chased me down in the backyard, so it had 2 groups to check on me in a zone, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. We appreciate that. All right, Miss Courtney.
Oh, I need to get my phone. Okay, I want to start off with economic development type stuffs, and then we're going to switch up on the veteran and community part. So we've been talking and just continuing on some of the workforce development, the Kentuckiana Works parts. So I just want to spend a few minutes updating. When we were talking about recruiting and retaining our businesses, both large businesses and small businesses, a few components are very important, and I just want to let you know what we're working on for all of these pieces. Incentives are a big deal, and Team Kentucky, the whole economic cabinet, has a ton of resources for towns like ours, for small businesses, for grants, for training. So I just want to let you all know we are going to educate ourselves and really putting ourselves out there. Last year, over 200 employers were awarded $12.6 million in grants, which ended up help train 43,000 people for different skill sets. So that's a huge deal. That's just in the state of Kentucky. Bullitt County is a big county. We are a great city. I think we really have an opportunity to educate ourselves and put ourselves out there. That's a very powerful number. That's an incentive, right? That's a recruiting tool to get people to come in and stay in Shepherdsville. Another incentive is working with Kentuckiana Works. I'm happy to report that there are 2 other people from Shepherdsville that are joining the Kentuckiana Works Board after 2 years of finagling and doing. So the CEO of U of L South, Doris Shelburne, and the Chief Operations Manager of JOM, Chris Weller, has a very fancy title, I'm sure of it, with JOM. They are both representing a distribution part and a healthcare part. So now we have 3 people that are in the Bullitt County, Shepherdsville arena pushing for us and really going to help us secure some, not just funding for our school system programs to get these kids educated and graduate with higher paying jobs, but just overall being more connected to what is available for workforce development, what is available for grants and retaining and recruiting businesses. So all of those things are very important. I will tell you a couple of things that I feel good about that we are talking about right now in a couple of different capacities. The first thing that comes up when we start talking about workforce retaining, recruiting is housing. 100%. It's no, Kentucky in general has a housing shortage for folks when we're talking about retaining. You can look it up. It's an easy statistic to find. Specifically, when you're talking about workforce development, it's the first thing people ask. The second thing is school systems, and our school systems are continuing to improve. We are on fire in that particular area, so I think that's a great thing for us to be able to brag on. And then last but not least is the social and the connectivity with the park we have to brag on now. We can show those pictures of the park and what's going in. The aquatic center, there's nothing like that happening right now. No construction like that happening in the state, so that sets us apart. And then just I put the quote, a lively community calendar. And when I read that, I literally thought of your face. Like, we have a lively community calendar,
we do.
and it looks like Amber Odell. So I feel like we are checking boxes. I think we have a lot of tools to recruit. I think we have a lot of tools to retain, but we really have to hone in on the things that we still need. And I think housing is part of that, connecting with grants, connecting with these programs that the state funds, that we have incentives for folks. I think we just really need to keep up with those opportunities. I will say what the chamber has done in the last few years in growth, I mean, it's more than doubled in the last couple of years. It's participating in a way that it's never participated before. The amount of scholarships they're giving to high school kids to get back into the workforce as soon as they're graduating or move on to the next part of their education, it's a really big deal. So I think we have a lot to brag on. I just want to make sure we are all saying the same things, that we all understand when you get somebody, when someone's asking, what is Shepherdsville? Why Shepherdsville? You can brag on, here's some things right now, our community involvement, our lively community calendar, the things that we are touching with Team Kentucky, Kentuckiana Works. We're really making some magic here, and I want you guys to be a part of it. And then the last thing that is my favorite thing to talk about, and I know that most of you were there, the parade was a bigger success than I think any of us could have imagined. I do want to share two quotes. The statistics are more than 70 names and photos were paraded in downtown Shepherdsville representing Vietnam veterans, and so that was a huge deal. There were decorated trucks, there were grandsons carrying banners, and everything in between. The flyover, the helicopter flyover that Chief helped secure, I felt put the icing on the cake. It was truly a moving experience. There were 60 veterans who physically were in a Jeep, in a truck, that physically participated. 60 Vietnam veterans came out and had this experience. So I'm gonna quote two of them. One is one of our nearest and dearest friends, Bob Oslander. He's from Louisville. He came out and he comes to Shepherdsville all of the time now just because of some of our veteran connectivity. He's United States Marine Corps, 1963 to 1967. He said, this is the best thing I've ever been a part of. What a parade, thanks to every single person who put one moment of thought into this. And then John Harrison, he was United States Army, Vietnam, 1969 to 1970. He's a Shepherdsville guy. Thank you for everyone for all of your help today. This parade may not have meant much to everyone, but it certainly meant so much to me. It was actually therapeutic. Not being welcomed home was hard to carry around for 55 years. Today will put a lot of the bitterness away. I truly appreciate you. My heart is full, and I thank you very much. I probably have 20 texts like that. I just want you to know what we did, everybody that took the time, that secured the roads, that got the helicopters, that decorated the trucks, that participated in the vehicles. That's what it meant to 60 plus people who physically got to experience that. So from the bottom of my heart, I will say thank you, and now I will take any questions.
So I do want you to know that I did talk to Vicki. She still has all the banners. We're actually gonna put the banners up and leave them up to Memorial Day. So we got cleanup to do, but we're gonna be down Buckman, down 44 both ways a little bit. We're gonna put them all up. So we'll get those up. We're gonna leave them up for a while.
Yes.
I just want, they were late. We didn't get them in time for the parade. But I gotta tell you, it was a very moving experience talking to the number of the veterans, and they did, a lot of them were just very appreciative of the fact that we had a parade to recognize them that they didn't get 50 years plus ago.
Yeah.
So it turned out really, really well, and we're gonna do it every year. I mean, there's obviously a diminished return when, obviously, we start losing more and more of our veterans from that era. But we're gonna continue to do it, and we will afterwards still have a memorial of some sort
Yes.
that we'll continue to do. And I got to see a really young picture of Jim Enlow.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the Jeeps had, Scotty McGahey on it. And his sister wanted to know if she could get that banner that was on the Jeep.
Any of the extra ones are at the American Legion.
Okay.
So someone ask her to either call and
I'll
we
go
can.
get it.
Yeah, absolutely. There were probably 20 or so
Yeah,
extra.
me and her both stood out in the street and balled. and
Yeah, it was a moving experience for our community,
Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
And then,
okay.
just one last thing for you, not that everybody needs to know what Courtney does at 11 o'clock at night.
No, don't. It doesn't matter.
It does matter, it
It
does,
does
and I want you all to know that we've had, over the weekend, they did a lot of stuff bringing supplies here for these folks, okay? And we have a number of folks, and Courtney, you know what I'm talking about, is that they spent a lot of time over the last 2 days bringing in supplies for families. We've got a ton of stuff at the bank. So I want to tell you, thank you for
Oh, sure.
all the hours that you spent over there, so.
You beg people to come to the city. You beg them to come here, relocate here. You beg them to bring their businesses here. You gotta help them out when they need
I
it.
appreciate what you did, okay?
Yeah. Anything? Yes, ma'am.
Did you get my text message? Obviously not.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't.
Okay, just for everybody, down at Krebs, they have this giant ornamental gate.
Yes, I did.
You did get it?
Yes, I did.
Did you go by and look at it?
I did not. Sorry.
It's nice.
It's beautiful.
Say that again, what was it?
It's a
It's an
giant iron ornamental gate.
Like to opening.
It's
cool.
it's
It
really
opens like
huge.
this, doesn't
I
it?
think so, yeah. It's really huge.
Okay.
We really need, it's for sale.
Okay.
We really need to go down there and look at
Let's
that,
go look at
because
it.
it would be
Where?
beautiful for the park
It's,
to use for a gate
right
or
before
to
you
set up
go
as a
across the bridge
decoration, but it's
towards
that pretty.
KLA.
Okay, we can
On
take
the
a look.
left-hand side, you know where the new beauty salon is?
I do.
Right next to it, it's her dad's.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
Did he make that, do you know?
I don't know.
Did you send the contact information with the?
I haven't, but I can,
Will you?
I can stop by and take a picture of
That
it.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Give it to
Yes,
us, Bonnie. We'll see.
Definitely.
We can look for some spots there.
Absolutely.
It's just too pretty to pass it
Okay.
up.
It's pretty.
Right, no worries,
Very pretty.
we can always, Courtney, thank you so much.
Our very
Thank
own
you,
Mike
Barbie.
Gibbard as well was on a poster
Yes.
right behind us.
Yes, and he had a young
Yes.
picture of him on there.
But yes, beautiful,
See, he was
beautiful
young once.
parade. We had people crying in the streets.
All right, a lively calendar, is that what we're gonna start calling you, lively calendar? Negative? Negative? That'd be a hard no. All right, is Amber going? Oh, okay. So, we talk a lot about different things, but I want you to know that she did a lot of work, and we communicated everything, even with this northbound thing on Cedar Grove Road. We did a lot of information, we pounded social media with all kinds of information over the last 2 weeks. And I gotta tell you, that took a lot of work, and obviously you're a lot of putting that stuff out there, so thank you.
You're welcome. I shared as much as I could.
Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Good stuff. We're gonna keep doing that to make sure, tied in with everybody else, to make sure that information that we get out there, yes.
Well, everybody, please make sure we are sharing. The Bullitt County Bank building will be open from 9 to 5 through Saturday. We still have tons of supplies, cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Toiletry bags, please.
Cat food,
send
dog
folks
food.
there.
Yep.
And then the chamber too, right?
Food boxes, we put together, so that way we just need
Okay.
one volunteer to be there. So it's at the old, Peyton Griffey and them have been amazing. They let us just take over that whole building with storage. So please, we have bleach, cleaning supplies, some non-perishable food, tons of boxes, yes.
Had you posted it yet on Facebook?
I've been sharing whatever she's.
Okay,
posted it
because I was
earlier.
gonna say, cause I'm just gonna
It's-
share a
yes,
post, so.
It's the same thing,
Yes,
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, I'll repost it.
All right, Miss Amber.
So I'm going to start off with the Wine, Whiskey, and Ale Fest. As everybody knows, the park got flooded, so several events got changed to different venues. So the Wine, Whiskey, and Ale Fest has been moved to the Ode Community Center parking lot, which is April 26th, 3 to 8. So come out for that. Everybody's aware of it. So it should be a really good time. All the wineries, Four Roses, Jim Beam, Gallant Fox, and Salt River Brewing will be involved. And then Exit 105 will be playing, and then several food trucks also. So 3 to 8 on the 26th. And that address is 150 Frankie Simon Avenue.
probably know the post office for everybody. Everybody knows what the community center is, but back there, like I said, and we'll put out some kind of layout of parking, because we want the parking closer to the counties.
Yeah, so
buildings,
it's gonna
so you
be,
can walk back this way.
parking will be, clerk's office, courthouse area. We will have some, handicap parking closer to the event space, so. And then Shakespeare in the Parks, Macbeth, has been moved here, May 8th, 6:30. And then, May 31st is the Stars, Stripes, and Strides 5K walk with Mayor. That will actually be at the park still. Hopefully everything will be cleaned up. If not, we'll reroute it. But we will start at the pavilion, walk over to the aquatic center so everybody can get a look at the aquatic center.
So Chief, you're gonna have to take care of the road for us. Thank you so much.
Everybody's a Christian when the roads are closed, so. We won't hear about it.
I knew you would, as soon as she said that, like, we're going to walk over to the aquatic center, like, I knew you.
2 nonprofits for that event will be the American Legion Post 157. They will be setting up, taking donations for poppies that will be planted in the Veterans Memorial area for the downtown square. And then the Cabero Foundation also will be set up, taking sponsorships for the kids for the aquatic center when it opens. And that's 9 a.m. We are still looking for 3 to 4 sponsors. What that entails is you get your name, logo on a yard sign, and then I just ask you to provide the color for the walk, which is red and blue color. So
The food truck invasion.
I'm going. I know I skipped over that. Sorry, I don't have a flyer yet for it. So I got
Lively
you, I
calendar.
gotcha. So back up, May 18th is our food truck invasion, 3rd year for that. We partner with the Louisville Food Truck Association, Troy King. That event is actually rescheduled to Paraket Springs. So that will be 12 to 5 on the 18th. Casey and Romy, which played last year for Bullet Blast, they will be the band for that evening. Real nice setup. Vicky is allowing us to use the north and east parking lots, and then the band will actually play in their little garden area. So if you know any vendors that would like to set up, craft vendors, send them my way. And then one last event that I'd like to talk about, well, 2. Farmers Market starts June 7th, opening day. It'll run through September 13th, 9 to noon this year. Still looking for vendors, produce, honey, eggs, send them my way. And then Kids Fest is June 14th. It was at Paraket Springs Conference Center. I know Luann is still looking for sponsors, so if you'd like to have a booth there, reach out to Luann. And then U of L South is our big sponsor for that event this year. And that is 9 to noon as well.
And we are gonna be, Sam's back here, but I didn't have her actually making a presentation, but I wanted her to be there. Hi, Sam. But I wanted to make sure that, we are working on getting the park cleaned up as much as possible. We're gonna pressure wash the basketball court, pressure wash the pickleball, and they're gonna get the net put up so that people can come back to that. We're gonna try to get the walking trails at least done. There's gonna be some work done. We're gonna redo the playground and the Gaga court. We're gonna put that turf that goes in there that can take the water, just to have it moving forward. So, because I mean, the mulch has to be all taken out. You gotta sanitize all that. There's quite a bit of work in doing all that. So Tom's working on that piece, but we are gonna make some changes on the materials that are actually inside both those venues. So, gotta do it. And then there's some other things coming down. We got some landscape work that we're gonna be doing and getting things going again, but we'll get it all squared away. But thank you, Ms. Amber.
You're welcome. Any questions? Thank you.
Good? All right. No old business. Ms. Catherine?
What am I doing first?
I'm gonna introduce them, see if anybody just- the annexes.
Oh, okay. So, I guess I'm gonna find out, does anyone want to introduce / sponsor an ordinance to annex Field of Grace's property into the city so that they can, I guess, do something with their property and get it developed for housing?
I will sponsor the ordinance.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay, next up is,
You got colored pens.
I know,
You had red earlier.
I know. So I'm reading this next, is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Okay. So, before I read it, let me explain in part why this amendment came up. So, I got an email from Tammy Baker, the county attorney. Apparently, one of our code enforcement officers, in keeping in line with the ordinance, provided notice to the Bullock County Detention Center, since they are on the city limits, that their dumpsters needed to be enclosed. Ms. Baker reached out to me and Jose and I think a few other people and asked if they could be basically exempted because they had some safety concerns. I don't know that I really want to go into detail of what those were necessarily, but they just, they're partially enclosed, I guess, but they're not fully, and I think that there was just some safety because inmates do dump trash and they want to be able to keep eyes on them at all time. So,
I want to stop you for a minute. Does that sound right? Yes, sir. I just want to make sure, make sure we're saying it, because we want to make sure we're working with you on that, okay? Right.
Visibility, make sure if inmates escape, they don't have places to hide, obstruct our view, and we have a lot of inmates that go back there, do different things, and just keep good eyes on everybody, no obstruction, no hitting,
Okay.
type whatsoever.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that. Like I said, and we talked, Tammy, that we appreciate what you got to do there. So we're working with you on that. No worries.
So after talking to the mayor and Bonnie, who had sponsored the amendment, the first amendment, they both agreed that yes, that it should be amended. And so I told Tammy, just don't do anything right now with it, that we're going to probably pass this ordinance. So that's kind of what prompted this. There was one other, I guess, amendment to clarify. So when I called Bonnie, she was telling me about a property that was going to put up a fence for the back, but really couldn't put it up all around, and then come to find out nobody could see it. They could see it only from the back, because it's the way it's on their property. You'd have to be on their property to see it.
There is some apartments, the rear apartments that can see it. The mayor and I are supposed to go
Yep.
down and meet with the manager, this week. And look, they have 5 dumpsters lined up. It's impossible for them to put a fence around that.
Right.
And be able to get the trucks in there to pick it up.
Yeah.
There is a fence on the back side of the property. There's fence on this side, but it's just chain link. But there's nothing on behind those dumpsters. There's nothing to be seen but woods. But on the other side, they agreed to put up a privacy fence to block the view from the apartments.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing to this, because when we talked about this, the idea behind this is the appearance of it when you can see it on major roads. Because so Catherine and I talked about it, before we knee jerk anything, she's going to do what she's got in there, but we want to make sure it's a case by case. If it can't be seen from the main road, the example that Father Adam brought to me is where St. Aloysius, you can't see that dumpster. Not by any, you can't see it from Plum, Abbott, 44, 3rd Street, you can't see it. And so that was making it difficult, and when he brought that to my attention, I said, Father, we'll be looking at all this. We want to make sure that everybody understands. We're doing this to make sure that it's what's visible, because if you drive down 44, if you're heading towards Mount Washington, look both sides, you see all the dumpsters that are out there. Even in front of the Troutmans in that gas station, he's got one right out in front. That's not, and then if you turn down West Blue Lake, right there on the right, there's one right out front. So the whole idea behind the fence ordinance is to not use it as a ramming tool, but just to make sure people understand, if you're going to have it where it is, it has to be covered, not only for the aesthetics, but also for some safety purposes too. So that was the purpose of it. So it's not all inclusive. Sometimes we got to make some decisions. We're going to try to be as fair as we can with this. It's just more about what the goal was. When you all voted for it, we wanted to clean our city up and make it look better.
Yes.
That's the ultimate goal.
And it
Go
kind
ahead.
of read that way initially, but I clarified. Now, in the clarification, it says that it can't be seen from any roadway or neighboring property. So we didn't want them to necessarily, if they abutted like residents, we didn't want them to say, oh, well, they can't see from 44, but these 3 houses, you have to look at it. No, we didn't want that either. So that was really the intent. The language in there that was added was really meant to just make that very clear to anyone reading the ordinance that if you have a dumpster on your property and it's 10 acres and nobody can see it, then you do not have to enclose it, or however many acres. If nobody can see it, you don't have to enclose it.
I think that as we move further, and we are gonna have a few that are gonna have exceptions, I think the one on the jail needs to be in the ordinance. Some of these other ones, like the one that I've talked to you about, I think those, we can do a personal letter to them saying, this is okay for what you have, so they can keep that in record, so if the future mayors come along, they say, oh, wait a minute, you can't do this, they can present that letter, we can put one
Good
in
point.
our file.
She made that point earlier.
And then we don't have to keep
Good point.
reinventing the wheel over every time we make a
Yeah,
change.
because if the next mayor
Except for the
doesn't like
problem-
Brian, who doesn't like
Except for,
Brian?
here's the
But
thing, the mayor enforces the ordinance, and this mayor cannot force a future mayor to not enforce an ordinance.
I know, but I still think that it would be,
the documentation in there.
I mean, that would help.
Documentation.
I think if it's gonna be something like the jail, something major, but now, also, your example of they can't put a fence because there's no way the truckers, that the dumpsters, or the trucks would be able to get to it, that already is an exception. We would just need basically a letter from
Republic.
Republic saying, yeah, that's really not gonna be, feasible. And so, we've got that, you could put in, even if you wanted, you could put in as an exemption, any, any other issue that whoever the mayor is deems should be exempted for cause, for show, whatever. You could do that as well. You could do it where the whole council does it, but then the poor guy, or poor person has to come to a council meeting, and they have to wait, and all of that. So you could, that's another option, is to, allow the mayor to make that,
I think that's what we need to do.
exception.
And we shouldn't have to come here every time and we're gonna exempt this, Jose should make that call.
Okay, so we.
Just email us and say, hey, I'm gonna exempt this one.
Yeah, well, we'll make,
And then in
just don't
that
get too
way,
complicated.
when the mayor does write the letter saying, hey, pursuant to ordinance blah, 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 section blah, 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 which is I, the mayor, you are exempted, that will have more force for the future mayor, because this ordinance said, hey, this mayor can exempt, you can't go back and, back and forth, and so.
Yeah, and we don't want to make this thing extravagant. I mean, obviously, we're trying to
No.
work with people as far as, getting something that just covers it up. I mean, because some of those things are unsightly. They really are. I mean, if you're driving
and
through our
some
city.
are unsafe.
And some of them are unsafe.
And I've had several phone calls and Jeff has went and looked at them and talked to them, so that's.
Yeah, Jeff and Ray have said most people have been very cooperative in working with them. They've been really positive about talking to folks, and everybody's working with them. I talked to the Troutmans. They know what they got to do if they're going to leave it where it is. It's got to be covered, so you can't see it from Buckman. So everybody, I think, has been pretty good about it. There are some exceptions. I've had a couple people call me as well and just say, let's just work with them on that, And like I said, it wouldn't even help. I don't mind helping somebody if they need it, right?
I agree.
All right, so what do we have?
Well,
Or do we want to?
Do you wanna go ahead and read it and that's good?
well, if I read it, I need to go ahead and have that change in there.
Oh, okay.
The change to,
For the first reading, yeah.
yes, and so, let's see,
Scribble it in there, but.
That's,
see what I'm doing. That is literally
we
what I'm
got the
doing,
blessing.
sorry,
We got the blessing. We're
sorry
good.
for the hold up.
I think it's gonna be much easier that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a little bit of burden to you, but,
I don't mind. Like I said, we just really want people to understand why we're doing something like this. Tom, how are you? I'm just giving you a couple minutes so you can get this written in here.
Mayor, I can get a letter from the public on the property that you and I talked about.
Okay. That's the one. I'll come and see you. I'll come and see you
Because
next couple
if
days.
you didn't want to go, I think I
wanna
can
see
do
it.
that, but I want them to still put the privacy fence
Yeah, and
along that one side.
didn't Jeff go talk to that guy? Jeff said it was really nice. He
Oh,
said,
he's a great guy.
yeah, he said he talked to him and everything like that, so he was really willing to cooperate and get done. He didn't mind doing that, so that's fine. Yeah, I just think that where the visibility is where, and I mean, again, the one blatant ones that are just right on the road,
Yeah.
that they really need to be covered and moved in. And again, I really like to see it a little bit off. I know they do it for the Republic.
Well, I had to look for them.
Well,
I
that's-
didn't even know where they
yeah.
were. I had to look and keep
Yeah.
driving and they're way in the back.
Yeah, no worries. I'll call you in the morning.
Okay.
Let me see what you got. We'll go over and see it.
And I can,
What's his name?
James, I can run down just,
Okay.
it's like only half a mile from work and we'll just run down there real quick.
Okay. I'll go with you, we'll go check it out.
Trying to figure out how to word this. Any dumpster in which the mayor deems that
Alright, get
offense,
it scribbled yet?
I'm working on it. Any dumpster in which the mayor deems that offense shall not be required. I mean,
Read it again.
I say any dumpster in which the mayor deems that offense shall not be required. But I feel like it should be saying due to, you know, like required due to hardship maybe, due to, unforeseen circumstances.
You could put it in,
Hardship or safety,
so I would just do the hardship and unseen circumstances, but that would cover a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
due
that
to
cover
hardship and or unforeseen
Yeah,
circumstances.
that
There
would
you go.
cover it.
and then maybe if you reject their claim, maybe they can appeal to the council.
Well, wouldn't they go through code enforcement?
Yes,
Okay,
they would
fair
take
enough.
it through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll work it that way. That way they get a chance to have at least be heard.
All right, so that one will now read, any dumpster in which the mayor deems that offense shall not be required due to hardship and or unforeseen circumstances.
And we'll send that back, yeah, when she gets it done, we'll email it to you guys, right? So you'll have the current copy of that. All right.
Okay, so now let me go back to the summary. Oh, now I gotta make this other one here, sorry.
You gotta keep the jello happy.
I might put you in there.
Keep the prisoners where they belong.
You gotta keep the prisoners happy.
Come on. See, it only works half the time. The mayor for undue hardship. No, what did I say, hardship or undue hardship or unforeseen, is that what I said? Or did I just say hardship?
Said hardship and unforeseen
And-
circumstances.
Wait, how did I write it on there?
Oh, you did both the same of that.
Due to hardship, okay. Not undue hardship.
And Brian, while she's finishing that, we would definitely want to get with you guys and coordinate, obviously, all of the things that have gone on. You see it on the interstate, you see everything else. I know there's quite a bit of stuff out there. I know they started cleaning today for the county. They actually had a dumpster out there, so they got their stuff started. We did our first 3 days, and they said they had 15 dumpsters between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 15 dumpsters of product. If you-
Wednesday, we're gonna get all of our working inmates tetanus shots.
Yep, yep.
We're gonna have now full force, helping everybody out with the blood cleanup.
That's cool. Appreciate that very much, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that.
Have all of our guys had their taking shots?
You know, that's a good point. I don't know that.
They
I
stay up on them.
yeah, they stay up on them for the, but I'll check with Tom in the morning. I think it's a good point.
Call them in the sewer for them.
Yeah, but, I think Scott said something about them doing this, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, fire department, police department. Are y'all's up to date?
Tetanus shots?
Are they up to date? Okay. I'm sure everybody else is.
I was gonna say, theirs
Yeah.
would
We
probably
need to
have to
check.
because
I'm just
they
gonna
deal
make
with
that again,
people
like
on a
Jose, that
day to day.
We need to protect them.
Yeah.
Is yours up to date?
Be in writing. I'm gonna put it,
Mine is.
that it has to be in writing.
It is?
That way we have a paper trail.
Mine isn't.
Because I worked at a hospital.
All right, here we go.
All right, I think I added that any exemption that the mayor gave has to be in writing, and that way there is a paper trail, and we don't base it off people's words, so, wanted to let y'all know that before I read. Okay. City of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, ordinance 025006, and ordinance amending ordinance 018269 as amended of the City of Shepherdsville related to requiring a fence around dumpsters within the City of Shepherdsville, sponsored by Councilmember Bonnie Enlow. Summary, Section 1, sets forth that Section 018269 enacted on October 8th, 2018, and codified in Section 51.03 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances is amended. Section 2, amend Section 6 to clarify that the requirements set forth in Section 6 only applies to dumpsters in the city limits of the City of Shepherdsville that can be seen from any roadway and or neighboring property, regardless of whether the dumpster is located on the real property. Further amend Section 6 by exempting the requirements set forth in Section 16, dumpster located on the premises of the Bullock County Detention Center. Further amend Section 6 by exempting any dumpster exempted by the mayor for hardship and or unforeseen circumstances. Any exemption given by the mayor shall be in writing. Section 3 sets forth a severability clause. Section 4 sets forth a repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 5 sets forth a publication requirement.
Thank you, Ms. Catherine. And she could have been a doctor. I've seen the writing. So,
write
thank you for
pretty
that. Just playing around. All right, so the next one is the comprehensive plan.
Yes, okay. City of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, ordinance 025007, an ordinance adopting the goals and objectives for the 2025 Bullitt County, Kentucky Comprehensive Plan, sponsored by Councilmember Jennifer Mendez. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the goals and objectives of the 2025 Comprehensive Plan adopted by the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission are accepted by the City of Shepherdsville. Section 2 sets forth a severability clause. Section 3 sets forth a repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 4 sets forth the publication requirement.
Yeah, and again, I know we've talked about it, and Jennifer and I had a good conversation about this. It's a comprehensive plan. There are gonna be some dynamics that change because Helen Heights changed the dynamics of the area south. By it being a residential area, we wanna see that continue to go that way. We don't wanna see more warehouses that way, okay? There's an opportunity there. As we talk 44 East as far as another residential focus. So we're just gonna look at each one of those when we have an opportunity to actually bring on housing. All right? So, that's our. That was the first, no, you gotta read that. Is that today?
What? I don't have it.
Oh, we'll be reading that
Next meeting.
next meeting.
Next
So,
meeting. I
next
just
meeting
got
we'll
a
have the first
sponsor
reading of
for
the
it.
annexation. All right.
You can't write that up real quick?
What's that?
So you can't write that up real quick?
Yeah, she could, no, she's got it, but it's not here. No, I'll take care
No,
of it.
because
All
I
right.
have to get, the signatures, and Brenda has to have stuff, and yeah, we got a few things we gotta get.
So, there's no executive session. Planning and zoning, I will, don't know what, is everybody getting that email on the, what's coming up?
From Charlie?
From Charlie, or is that from, Jeremy? Does
I
Jeremy
get it
send
from,
anything to you?
I get it from Charlie on Planning Commission.
Nikki sent us one,
I-
Brenda did too.
Yeah, I think she did send it, but we just try to make sure you get that, so you see what's on the agenda for that. Take a look at all that, because I know there's some things coming down the pike.
There's
Right.
several for us.
Yep, and I talked to Dwayne, he's still in surgery, he's still out. He said that, they actually canceled one because of the flood.
Floods.
Yep, so the first part, yeah, you've been trying to go, you too?
Yeah.
Rob, you've been trying to go to that too, right? To the, Board of Adjustments and, Planning and
Planning
Zoning?
zoning.
Yeah,
Sometimes, yes.
there's one coming through there for the industrial park, I know, sometime in the next couple of weeks, or the next meeting. All right, department heads. Jody, you can stay right there. Chief, come on down.
It's not like I should be afraid of anybody. We're all friends here.
Yeah, you have a gun and we don't.
Well, they don't give me bullets, so that's part of the budget, so there you go. Just really, just a few things, start off on a serious note, is that, some of the things we have upcoming, if y'all could share on your all's, sites too, is that we're gonna be doing a drug take back here from 10 to 2 on April the 26th, right out here in front of City Hall. We'll have some people doing that. It's a connection with, kind of like a national thing almost with the DEA also. People just have to bring in their old prescriptions, turn them into a box, we seal the box up, weigh it, and then give it to DEA the next Monday. So it's a good way for people to get rid of old unused
Tear the
prescriptions.
labels off?
No, it's if
Okay.
you want to, but
Okay.
it's all being destroyed, so,
Okay.
they can take them off if they want, if not. Another thing we've got is on your calendars, we've talked about this briefly, is on August the 5th, we're gonna be participating, I think, for the first time in the National Night Out, which is more of a community building. So far, we've had some meetings and gotten some stuff together, and a little more intensive than we first thought, but it's gonna work out. And so far, we've got everybody in Bullitt County, with the exception, I think, of Mount Washington, that's kind of committed to being here. They're gonna be doing their own. So that's gonna be a good night. We're really putting some effort into this for a community to reach out. So, back a little bit of what everybody, we've talked about here with the flood and what everybody's done. And, we had an opportunity to go out there, and we doubled up, and on some shifts tripled up on people. I think overall, it really went well for everybody. Of course, when it kind of started receding, we got some of the complaints about the closing the roads, but the big night with the big traffic jam, just to let you all know, it seemed to cause all the problems. I guess it was a few nights ago.
Tuesday night.
It all kind of rolls in together.
It's Tuesday. Wednesday.
What happened was State Highway Department decided to shut down the ramp on the 480 to one lane, and nobody knew that was coming. So about that time that happens, you know, you couldn't go on 44, you couldn't go on 61. So then we had 2 wrecks on 65 leading up to that. Then we had 2-car wreck and one rolled over, and they were entrapped in their car at Conestoga and Preston. That closed 3 lanes. So you basically had,
It could have all happened.
yeah, it couldn't have happened the worst time. So, you know, when people see that, well, where are the police? Well, we're out doing everything else, because when that stuff happens, we're also making the domestics, the other traffics, and all that. So, you know, something like that, when you've got one way in and out of town, you're gonna sit, you're gonna wait, and you just gotta be patient. And we'll try to get to them when we can, and, you know, but it's not gonna make everybody happy, but just to let y'all know, that's why that went completely off the rails that night, so.
It was a tough night, but I was gonna say, Chief and I talk about this stuff all the time. If when we try to get out and actually make a difference in that, he did actually have an officer do a really good job, and we appreciate that. Kenny Prophet, I mean.
Yeah, he was out there, he took it the next night. The first night was when, actually, I came out and so did Major Alton, and we got everybody out when we had enough people, and we started shutting everything down and just running people off 44 out across 65, shut that down, and we cleared it up in about 10 or 15 minutes.
I appreciate it, Chief. I know, like I said, sometimes
and,
it's
you
not
know,
easy.
some of the problems is the detour was running people on Preston, which I guess their GPS was still telling them they could go out towards Dixie. Well, they would get down there at the VFW, and it was closed.
Yeah, because
So that started funneling. So it was just, you know, everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Well, I appreciate it, because I know that wasn't a fun night for anybody.
Yeah,
Again, if you were out
and we
there.
got through that. So, you know, just thank you all for your patience, but that's what happened on that.
Well, thank you all.
No,
Yeah,
Hard
really
work.
Well,
appreciate it.
And the fire department and public works.
Well, this is gonna be the difficult part, because I told everybody I was gonna be doing this, and you all know that me and Chief Jody Craig go back and forth a lot. But I wanna say this for the people who couldn't see what went on. They started planning a week before this. And while we made runs, we kept everything going too on our part. They took on so much more responsibility for basically the entire county. Now, we sent some officers down to Lebanon Junction to provide security there. We helped Brian out moving all the prisoners down to Louisville Corrections when that happened, which, you know, right move on his part, and we were glad to help out. I wish everybody could have seen the meetings leading up to the event of everybody working together, because you had everybody from the county there, all these making plans, and then when it started happening, they were everywhere all the time. Wherever we went, they were already there. I know that Zonton, Chief Moulton, they did a lot from up here, and that's more what I saw. But also, when we would go down there and check on Lebanon Junction, they were there doing all the rescues. So a really good shout out to our, you know, all the fire departments, especially Chief Craig and the Shepherdsville, because they did so much that nobody will ever know about. And I just want to applaud them. They did a heck of a job. So. Now I'm gonna go back and have a stroke since I said all that.
It had to be tough, man.
But I do have to end it on this note, though, is that listening to what went on earlier when I was here, my 2-year plan is to have a new police station. So, I'll give you time, we'll go.
I see my head nodding over here. Stop. Stop.
But actually, we'll never let an opportunity go to waste. But we have actually discussed that, and actually a predate with Chief Troutman on before when he was here. It was like, how can we do this? Do we build some kind of joint station down further here and staff it? Because one of the issues is a lot of times if you know, say in this flooding that you're cut off, it would be good to have. Or when they had the interstate busted up, which I'm sure that's going to happen. Before this, we would try to always staff enough people basically south of the river, so nobody got stuck by themselves, and have north of it. So
that was
I
really
think
tricky.
it's something
Preston
we
was
could
shut down
definitely
3 different areas.
work together.
That was weird.
Going forward, that is something we can.
You just had to seize the moment, didn't you, sir?
Yeah, well, I couldn't let it pass.
It's a good thought. It's a good thought.
Kudos to you
any
too,
questions?
Steve.
I'm sorry.
That was unplanned, I know, and it was like the perfect storm, but when we have the planned events, like we know that 65 is going to get shut down, is there anything y'all can do with overtime and get some
Well,
traffic
there
flowing?
is, but it all depends on what it is, and this is why it's, the way things are designed, and like I said, we can talk, you know, the mayor's talking about a bridge, and I was talking to some people up here, if we had some type of outer loop, you know, that ran around. But when they busted the interstate up, you know, what people don't realize is that, okay, we can have a few people working, it's always comes back to 44 and 61. Okay, we can put 1 or 2 officers there, but they're still just funneling them into a traffic jam. So, like when the interstate's busted up and they have a wreck, you're trying to funnel 3, 4 lanes of interstate traffic basically onto Preston over a 2-lane bridge. So there's your choke point. So
Yeah.
really, unless you would have every officer in Bullitt County or have the National Guard out, it's not gonna help unless you can control every intersection along the way is where you decide otherwise you're just gonna be funneling them in. And kind of along those lines is, I talked to the mayor about this, is that once all this clears up and we get some time away from it, it'd be good to do kind of like a PSA or send stuff out on Facebook, and just have people driving around to find 2 or 3 different ways to their home. Or, you know, hey, these are the roads that flood typically first, you can count on not being able to do this. Because, you know, most of us, we got good praise, we did get a few complaints come in about officers that are, you know, were rude and this and that about finding your way
There's
around.
haters everywhere.
Well, it's not so much haters because, I mean, what they don't understand is they're trying to get home. We need to understand that. But when it's pouring down rain and you've got a line of traffic, we can't give somebody personalized advice on how to get home.
Right.
We need to do this and have people to give the opportunity, just drive around and learn this before you need it. And we'll go from there because you just, you know, you can't stop everything.
Right.
And I mean, I'll tell you this story, and I know, Bonnie, don't give me the hook. I'm close to my 3.5 minutes, so.
Hit the egg time.
But, you know, one of the things the first 2 days of all the flooding, we kept looking up and it's like, is there a wreck on the interstate? So everybody's like, why is it slowed down? People were stopping to look at the flea market. And then as soon as they passed the 117 to 116, it would open up.
The gawkers.
What's our option?
Right.
Well, y'all should send an officer
I think
up
you should
there.
put up a wall.
Well,
so
you
they
should,
can't
yeah,
see it.
believe it or not, that was a suggestion, we thought about something like that for a while. Can we put a string and like blankets and block it?
Yeah.
But, you know, you send an officer up there, what's he gonna do?
Nothing.
Turn the lights on, what is that gonna do? It's gonna slow it down. But we actually had people stop in the slow lane.
It was amazing. I mean-
And get out and take pictures.
What?
Oh, yeah.
So-
No, then your police officer needs to arrest him.
Yeah.
But then yeah.
They're stopping the slow way.
But they're long gone.
Take them to Brian.
Because we're
If you
trying
have
to
them sitting
get,
there,
we're
then
trying
they
to
can
get through the
just-
traffic jam, so, but.
One good example was Ohm and 61. A couple years ago, trying to get out of Shepherdsville, just to go pick up a riding lawnmower for my dad. Took me 2 hours to get out of Shepherdsville. Ohm and 61, there should be a red light there. There's not, but you couldn't, I was the only one there and I couldn't get out. Couldn't turn left.
And we can always look at that, we can always improve on our response, and
Yeah.
if we know it, yeah, but a lot of times, like I said, if it's something, you know, are we gonna bring in a whole shift just to sit there if nothing happens, paying them overtime versus,
Right.
once it happens, or we don't know about it,
Yeah.
then what do we do? And that's always, you know,
'Cause
the
I
stewards of
remember-
the money of the city is what do we, you know, how do we account for that?
I always
That
get
was
really
the-
creative.
But that
yeah.
was when the guy, or the semi drove off the expressway. That was that.
It may be,
It
may
was
have been.
because it was the day I chose to move out of my house. And so
Okay.
we were trying to move furniture and stuff.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought it was
was that
construction.
day. I
But
know
yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
always,
They don't think it still merits a light. So we're gonna have to continue to fight that one there, but I think eventually we will. But I just think of the maps, especially with construction's coming up, like they did in LJ. I don't know when that's coming, but I mean, there's gonna be some news when that's gonna be really, really tough on the
I'll
city.
be honest, we talked about it, I thought it was supposed to already be taking
I know,
place this year.
I know.
It is supposed to be from where they stopped up to Brooks, and when that happens, it's gonna.
It's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some real challenges. We have to get people to understand where they might wanna go. I mean, cause it's too far going either way to Dixie Highway and Barstown Road, but we've gotta find some options, so.
I had people calling me, you know, they were driving home, which way should I go? I'm like, go Bell's Mill and here and, you know.
And a lot of times if you put something in your, you can hit alternate routes if they give you something.
True.
You can do that as well.
Yeah,
All right.
But even on those, the roads were flooding
Yeah, I
so
know.
quickly.
Oh, no,
that
they
you
wouldn't have mattered
couldn't-
in that situation. No, it wouldn't have mattered at all. All right, well, Chief, thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody. I really appreciate what you guys do.
kudos.
So if you don't know it, Tom LaFollette's birthday today. So I didn't tell me you had to come in today.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Yep.
I would like to say
I texted.
that they're doing a great job filling these potholes, and for everybody that talked about the potholes on because I even called him and I said, I'm sure there's a way to report this, but I don't know it. There was 2 gigantic ones in one lane that was causing people to swerve into oncoming traffic. They got those fixed for everybody that was on Facebook talking about it, but
So-
Tom's been doing a great.
Stronger was bad too.
Tom was doing a great
Yeah.
job, and Tom told me this, and I really want to put this on the record for anybody listening, because I did not know this. What they're using now, the material they're using now to fill these potholes is temporary. They can't get the permanent because of the weather. They're not even making the permanent stuff because it won't adhere correctly. So unfortunately, these are temporary fixes, which means you might see these potholes again, because it's like, you know, putting a Band-Aid on something that really needs stitches, or you need a surgery and you're just getting stitches. It's a temporary fix, but they are going around and trying to stay on top of it. So I just wanted to let
No,
people know
I want you to
that.
know, first of all, the one out there at home, one has got a spring underneath it, the one that's real big in the middle. And then Conestoga has like 3 or 4 of them every time we go through just any kind of weather, it just pops it out there. So they are gonna have to actually dig it out.
Yeah.
And concrete it out and refill it in. So I talked to Tom about this morning, but they did get those, and we're trying to get them as many as we can. I mean, obviously, we went through the flooding, so we put that out there today to let everybody know, hey, be patient with us. We are gonna get to them. If you wanna let us know, City Works, you can call Public Works, you can call the office here. We'll get them down, listed down for you. But anyway, and then, obviously, really, you know, with the sewer department, talking to Scott and Arthur, they really did well through all this, even with all that water.
Good.
There was a couple places, obviously downtown, obviously struggles with the water coming up through, because it just is nowhere to go. I mean, the river's full, and it's just, so, but I think overall, we're gonna get everything squared away, but all departments did really well, and we appreciate that. Like I said, it turned out really well, and the plan was really well executed. Chief and I, we were in meetings for the last couple of weeks, and getting together with, again, EMA and Justin Warren and his team, very happy with them, Judge Summers, and we really worked well together, so appreciate all that. All right, council, Mr. Rob Adams, what you got?
Okay. So I did go around, a lot of our drainage issues were about the same, except for some people like, over on, 480 and things, but I just wanted to, you know, because I like to differentiate between flooding and drainage, and I just wanted to say that drainage wasn't that much worse. And kind of a differentiate of flooding and drainage. And then thank everybody for all their hard work.
Yeah.
So,
Rob, thank you, sir. Miss Jennifer?
Just thanks to everybody who helped all the people who were flooded. I just wanna say one thing, I think it's great that our community really wants to help, but during the flood, let the professionals do that job. Right now, everybody needs help getting cleaned, that's when we need the community to come out, so.
Yeah, and be looking for those folks. There's some folks that are, you know, elderly couples that might just need some help. So we're gonna all try to work out, we're trying to identify those people, because again, agree with Jennifer, we already talked about that. That first week is one thing, it's the second and third week that we really gotta be looking out for those folks that need some help. All right, thank you, Miss Jennifer. All right, Miss Faith?
Yes, I want to say thank you to everybody also. I've rode around, watched and did some stuff, and I'd love to help, but at this moment, I can't be doing this stuff.
No
I
worries.
want to tell the public too, there's gonna be some days I'll be out, I might not be at council meetings, I have some health issues going on. So, if I'm not here, please don't hold it against me, because I love my community. So,
prayers for you, Faith.
just
That
pray
won't
for me.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
we
say,
do
pray
that.
for her.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
and Nikki and my grandbabies.
We will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Brad, what you got?
Likewise, I appreciate everybody pulling together, not only the public safety folks, but Scott and Arthur and the guys down there. They did I went and talked to the guys at the sewer plant this weekend doing the junk cleanup. And I'm pretty sure it got compounded by everything going on, so those guys did a heck of a job too, so. And Chief, Schmidt, I didn't mean to leave you out of the conversation about the whole housing thing.
Oh, we got that covered.
Yeah, I knew you weren't needy, but.
Those two are gonna be going at it. Well, he's gonna be off for a couple days, but yeah, it's going.
But just to revisit the whole, I get there's this perception that, like, if we start asking too many questions about housing, people are like, why don't you support housing? Everybody up here understands housing is a need. We all understand that. It's not news, okay? But to ask pertinent questions surrounding the development of that housing, that's our job. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at the draft comprehensive plan under section 6, where it says community facilities and utilities. Objective 6A, ensure that new development and future growth areas are adequately served by public facilities and services such as emergency response, schools, recreation, and solid waste disposal. 6B, identify existing development that is not adequately served by public facilities and utilities and create a plan to equitably distribute these services. It's in black and white, okay? So we understand the need for housing, okay? But it's, that part of the comprehensive plan falls directly on this council. And it's our job to ask those questions and address those issues. So I just wanted to clarify that, so.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Mike?
Well, I agree with Brad, what Brad just said, and, you know, our community does have a need for housing, and, but we don't build them. Contractors build them, you know, so we just have to make our environment welcome enough for them to invest in our community. On another note, I would imagine when the flooding first started, there was a lot of confusion on social media, but you know, that kind of died down, and when the facts started coming out. So I really didn't have anybody contacted me that was all irate. You know, when you tell them, hey, you know, this is what it is. When the water goes away, things will improve. So that's about all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mike. And last but not least. Put it down. Ms. Bonnie?
I want to thank all services for everything they did. I did get out and watch some of them and see them go out and try to convince not too smart people to get out of their houses, and they didn't believe. I did put something on Facebook about that because people need to not endanger our rescue people to make them have to come back at night and get them out when they change their mind. It's a lot more dangerous doing that in the dark. But I appreciate everything that everybody did, including sewer and public works, fire and police. And I was really impressed. I was out there and they were running the cameras up there, what do you call those things? Drones.
Yeah.
Drone.
Yeah.
And with the rescue boats and everything. And I did put pictures of all that online.
I want you all to know that we got a lot of compliments on the fact of how we actually handled this situation. I mean, it was really, really nice to hear that people said this is the best that they've seen as far as communication, everybody working together, all the county services. It was really very, very remarkable. One thing for the council here, in our next meeting, and I'll send some information to you, I started talking to Jennifer a little bit about it, we have opioid settlement money, funds that we can utilize to help organizations. What we want to do is we want to introduce, obviously county has a mental health program that we'd like to. That interlocal agreement's a little different, but like Mark 12 and Alpha Ministries, what a wonderful organization for men. It was just a great experience on Friday. But we need to, and when we do those organizations, it's very detailed, right? They've got, we give you money, if it's Brad's organization, then he has to explain every receipt. It's really very detailed because we want to know, but we dictate. So you're gonna be thinking about how you want, when we say we're gonna get this money, you all have to tell me what we wanna tell them. You're gonna get $10,000, this is what we wanna see the $10,000 spent. So I'll try to send something to get you started with it. I'll give you what I have on the opioid, so kind of get you going. Because we really want to make sure, you've got some really good organizations in this community doing good stuff. I just think that we can help them, because we keep putting the money towards the same old things and doesn't get kind of the results we want, right? So I want to change that up a little bit and try and find ways we can help. So any ideas are welcome, you know, so.
That's under donations on that handbook I gave you guys, and so, we dictate how they spend it, and as I told him, once we do that, I would have KLC review that, since they deal more with opioid money and donations, to make sure that we are, dotting our i's and crossing our t's, because it's taxpayer money, and we've got to do it just like any others. And Brad, I just want to say real quick, I think it's great that you guys ask questions, because it caused Jody to go back and make sure and look at the numbers and the plan, and It caused, EJ to do some more research and get, I don't know who got Luann more on, but I think hearing from a realtor about the statistics of what houses we've got, what do we need, how are they selling, what's the median, right? It's just more information. So I think it's great that you guys ask.
Yeah.
And it is appropriate. That's exactly what your all's
Yeah.
roles are. So I think
I agree.
it's
And unfortunately,
fantastic to think ahead.
I come from a time when city government looked at certain areas of public safety as, I'd say an afterthought, but it was closer to no thought.
Yes.
Drainage issues were left to developers and, on a handshake deal, and, we just didn't pre-plan anything. So I just wanna make sure that we're doing the right thing by everybody involved.
And that's gonna help with the plan, the strategic plan too. But it's gonna be framed in that, so we're gonna be starting that really soon too, so.
So I
Fred,
just wanna say I thought it was
thank-
great.
Thank you guys very much.
Motion to adjourn?
I knew it. Who's second?
Second.
All right. Man, Jennifer, you could've had a chance to jump in there. You
She
let
was
Faith
like,
get it.
I'm out of here.
Good job. I saw you over there getting ready. Hey, thank you all for coming tonight.
Roll call, roll call.
Gotta vote. Gotta vote.
You have to vote?
Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes. Brenda's keeping us on, Brenda's keeping us on track, I tell you.
I'm getting ready to vote.
I saw that. Sweeping the power, it's like, that's like, it's like,
If they could just play each other every game, they'd have a good, both of them would have a good season, because they'd both be about the same.
so the football league, good. I mean, so.
Yeah, so I think it's great. I don't
We're gonna
know.
try to figure out how we can work with them a little bit.
Exactly what you guys should do. And I think having that information
But
is
I'm gonna reach out to Joe, because I met with Joe Grant.
but
a
having
few weeks
Jody
back.
here,
It's just-
this is Luann,
You don't,
having EJ,
I don't wanna have a football program, I wanna run it, but I want the football program to stay. So we're gonna see if we can work with the county. It's been
Well,
about.
but your mission is different, as I heard on the, your mission is different. They're gonna want to keep boundaries open.
No, it may very